membership by inviting participants back to join the sponsoring club after the program is finished. The Speechcraft program has been updated and launched digitally only in mid-February of this year as the Speechcraft Experience program. Now, our clubs are suffering an unprecedented 50% drop in membership. We can't lose our clubs. We need new communication skills in a pandemic world. And this is absolutely the right time to introduce Speechcraft Experience in your club. I would like to show you how this works with the following agenda. I will talk about the program and about the educational credits that are available for participants and others, how to market the program. Then we'll go into some breakout rooms and have a chat about the program and how it could work in your club. There will be a Q&A section. And finally, I will wrap up with a closing. If you have any questions, I'll be stopping at various points, and that would be a good point to add any questions into the chat. So keep your chat handy. We're going to be using it throughout. If you're not already familiar with the Speechcraft program, there are many benefits, both for the people organizing as well as for the participants. It is a foundational package for public speaking. That means it's a complete training course in itself. It can also be a tool for increasing the value of your club membership, not only for new people coming in, but also for people who are members of your club. It can increase the membership, retain your membership. It can build new member skills for both new clubs with new people starting. It's a great place to start. And also for established clubs who might need a skill refresher. You can use your existing members as presenters in the club, and it will help to build their skills as well as trainers. There is a value of the participants being introduced to Pathways learning experience. They'll be comfortable when they join the club experience, then they will also know Pathways and be comfortable with it. Coordinators of the program can use this towards their DTM, and I will be explaining more in a bit. And this program is particularly good for community outreach. As you might know, Toastmasters has a partnership with the Rotary Clubs, and this program can be presented in partnership with the Rotary Clubs, but also with other areas and nonprofit organizations throughout your community. This is also an opportunity to raise funds for the club, and I will explain a bit more about that. And I like to think that Speechcraft actually helps to prevent club malnutrition. Now, what is club malnutrition? That means that your club members are not showing up for your meetings. Your club suffers from malnutrition. Imagine a program coming in that's fresh and new that your club members can enjoy. If you are a participant, then there are many benefits. And I'd like to tell you a short story about this. Now, picture Thelma Baker is in Oshawa, and she's a bit frustrated. She needs to get out of the house and do something. So she decided to take a Speechcraft course that was offered through the Seniors Club. And that was 14 years ago. And she was 76 at the time. And she joined up after the program was completed. Well, guess what? Now she's 90. She's 90 years old, and she is not only a member of one club in Oshawa, but actually 2 clubs in Oshawa. And she also has executive functions. Now, I find that very inspiring, and I hope that I can continue with Toastmasters as a lifelong learning. Now, remember, anyone can take Speechcraft. So have a look at some of the benefits that a participant can enjoy. They can prepare and practice speeches, even one-offs, for instance, like a wedding or being prepared for a very important job interview and other presentations. It's a boost to confidence. It improves your speaking skills and your leadership. It offers a condensed version of the club experience, and as I call it, it helps to reduce club shock. Remember that hesitation about going to a meeting? Fine. You've already gone through that. It's easier to join a club after. You don't need to be a member, a Toastmaster member, to take the program. The digital experience is set up in groups of 5. Yes, you can offer the program with under 5, maybe 3 or 4 members, but you can also move it up and offer the program maybe to 20, even 30 participants. And remember that the coordinator can also be involved with other Toastmasters in presenting this program. I also would like to mention that you would, as a participant, enjoy the pathways learning. That means that all of the program materials, the PDFs, the videos, all that refined presentation of the learning materials is available. There is also another feature called guides. The guides are like mentors, and it's meant that one participant is given one mentor. So it's a one-to-one relationship. And I like the Australians, they call them trainers, but for the purposes of this program, they're called guides. I also want to mention that I like to think about the Speechcraft program as being like an adult version of the youth leadership program. Now, how many of you have actually taken youth leadership or given the youth leadership program? I've actually done it twice. Yeah, Bruce has too. I totally enjoyed the program. And when I found the Speechcraft program, I said, this is amazing. I can't imagine doing something more interesting for the adults. It's short, it's sweet, it gets to the point, it gets you very involved. It's like the youth leadership program. So that's why I say it is the equivalent of an adult youth leadership program. It's just as enjoyable and it deserves a lot of success. So given the fact that a lot of clubs are suffering from membership loss, wouldn't you like to help out your club too? Everyone here today is here for a reason. So I'd like to launch a short poll, just 2 questions, and ask for those attending to please respond. Danny, could you launch the poll, and we'll take a few moments to do this, and I'll ask everyone to participate. Thank you.
Got 2 more to vote.
Okay. If they're available, we'll just ask them to spend a moment.
Maybe they don't want to.
That's okay. We'll just give them another second here.
Okay.
And I'll just okay. This is wonderful. All right. Well, let's close the poll now.
Okay.
And if you would show the results.
Sharing results.
Great. So for the first question, have you engaged with Speechcraft in the past? It seems the majority have not. So this is a new part of your learning experience about Toastmasters. And then the second question, I'd just like to mention we have a few people who've been participants or coordinators. So thank you for attending today. The primary reason is to increase club membership. I can relate to that, and to learn about credit towards the degree. Perfect. And then there's some other questions that we'll get to during the next course. So thank you. We can pull that down, Danny, and then we'll
okay.
Okay. And I think I can close it on my end. There we go. Just go forward a little bit here. So we have poll number 1 and the results. So DTM, increasing membership, etc. Okay. Now I'm going to present a series of slides. If you see anything of interest, please go ahead and take a screenshot. The Speechcraft program offers 8 components, learning components, and you can see them listed here, from choosing a topic to giving feedback, body language, vocal variety, and of course, how to evaluate. Evaluation is very important. It gives you feedback so that you can actually incorporate that feedback and do improvements as you move forward. And we know how important that is even to regular club meetings, and it is an interesting component and important component to Speechcraft experience. Forward. If you are familiar with the previous program, there are some equivalency, and this is a screenshot that you could take. It is just introduces the old program and the difference with the new program. And at the bottom left, you'll see that there's different speech topics for each of the sessions. And you'll see that there's a traditional icebreaker. Of course, what Toastmasters doesn't have an icebreaker. And the subsequent training program learning lessons, you give a speech on any topic, but you incorporate the learning into it, such as getting to the point, body language, etc. Okay. How does this work? When you enroll in a Speechcraft program, you buy in a bundle of 5 participants. It's called a digital bundle, and it's $50, just to tell you that it's US $50, and you're buying for 5 participants. If you're only giving the program to 3 people, you still buy the bundle of 5. If you're giving it to 20 people, you will buy 4 bundles of 5. And that's how it works. And in the bundle, you receive a quick start guide, the log on, and the log on will take you to Basecamp. And Basecamp is, of course, where your Pathways learning materials are. They've created a separate function. So over here is Pathways and over here is Speechcraft, but they're both accessed through a common point. The digital materials for the coordinator and the participants are on Basecamp. You also would receive printable resources, meaning the lesson plans and the materials within that, and also are included marketing materials so you can get Speechcraft launched quickly. The structure is something important to Speechcraft. It's usually given as a 4-week, 6-week, or 8-week program. The duration is recommended at 1.5 to 2 hours for each of the sessions. And you can see over on the left, over here, are the 8 learning lessons. So it is technically correct that you can do one for each. However, you might even do it twice a week. And I'd like to point out that the Peterborough Toastmasters Club did a program with the New Canadian Centre to help new immigrants, learn the language and to improve their speaking skills. And they offered a 4-week program, but they did it twice a week. And each session was 2 hours. It was very fast, very quick, and the participants put all of their effort in. And I'd like to mention at the end of the program, when they were asked if they would like to come to a Toastmaster meeting or to sign up, they all said that they would. I think that's pretty amazing. You can also give this program during the day, for instance, like a recreation center or a senior center where people are meeting during the day. Or you could do a one-off event, for instance, like a tea and toast. It's in Toastmaster, tea and toast social. A popular time is in the evening, 6:30 or at 7 o'clock at night, and runs for an hour and a half, or do something on the weekend in the morning for a few weeks in a row during the month. You can follow the recommended order, or if it's appropriate for your club, you can pick and choose which ones you would like to do. As a point of policy, only clubs are permitted to deliver the Speechcraft program. You cannot, as an area manager, for instance, an area director, give the Speechcraft on behalf of your area. And it's not intended for the district to do this either. It's exclusively for club use and club presentation only. It is okay to do fundraising for your club, but it's not okay to raise money for the organization who may be sponsoring you, or for yourself, or for any other group. There may have been some past misinformation about Speechcraft being profitable for the person giving it, and that is not correct. It is not intended for profit purposes by an individual or an organization, but it's okay to raise funds for your club, and I'll explain this. And it's okay to have a sponsor pay entirely for it. Now, I'd like you to use the chat, if you would, and think about how your club could use those funds, those extra funds from running Speechcraft. So go ahead and open up the chat and think about some areas or some ways that you could use that. I was thinking that, there's sometimes little pins that you can award a person, or ribbons. You can put ribbons. You have to pay for the ribbons for leadership awards and so on. And then a lot of clubs get banners, but they don't have a stand. So the funds could be used towards making a purchase of one of the stands for the big banner. So why not do that? And then if I could ask Danny to maybe see a few that might pop out, that would be really great. Do you see anything, Danny, that people may be contributing there in their thoughts?
I don't see anything in the chat yet. Oh, here's a couple questions coming through. We've got one from Bruce.
Okay, go ahead.
Question: do clubs charge more than the cost? What do they typically charge?
Yes. Let me see if I've got this on the next slide here. Nope, we're going to get to that in a moment. But typically, they would charge over and above the cost of running the program. That's how you get your profit for your club. And those funds are directed back to the club. And there is a page that I'll come to which explains more about that.
And the second question we have is from Lynn for a portable lectern.
Oh, nice. That's a great one.
Or towards your Zoom account.
Perfect. These are great ideas to use those extra funds for fundraising for your club. Okay, so I'm going to come forward a little bit more now and talk about the educational credits. Whoops, going the wrong way. There we go. And many of you are asking about the DTM, and I want to explain about how Speechcrafters can benefit and other speakers. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you may have already seen the chart. It explains the path to achieve your DTM. New member arrives and they start taking the pathways programs. They complete 2 paths. Then there's an outreach program, which you see here. That's the club sponsor, Speechcraft. Yes, Speechcraft, or youth leadership program. Then there's club mentor or club coach, and then the club officer and district officer. These are all components that lead towards your DTM. There is a capstone project that is done, and then you achieve your DTM. This Speechcraft program gives you the coordinator, the credential towards their DTM. You must start and finish the program to get the credit towards your DTM. A Speechcrafter that's what they're called. Speechcrafter is a participant in the Speechcraft program. The Speechcrafter is given credit after each speech towards their Pathways program when they join as a club member. And I'll have some further details in a moment. Anyone who comes and is a guest speaker during the program who is a Toastmaster and delivers a Pathways program, a credit is given towards that speech. And if you are a guide in the program, there's no credit, but you do get the honor of participating in Speechcraft experience. You may want to take a screenshot of this. This is the outline of the number of speeches that are used in order to achieve certain credits. So for instance, if you don't give any speech, you get no credit. If you get one speech and it's your icebreaker, that's one speech that you carry with you into the Pathways program when you join as a member. And look at this, if you do 4 speeches, this is incredible. And lost, of course. If you do 4 speeches during the program, you get the equivalent of your level 1 completion. If you see speeches 5, 6, and 7, there are some other highlights here. And one of them is the introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. Well, why is that? Well, you've just spent 4, 6, or 8 weeks being mentored as part of the program. Therefore, you are given credit towards your introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. And you'll see that there are some other electives here, level 3 electives, and 1 or 2 of those speeches. At the end of an 8-week program, you can actually complete 7 speeches, and you get credit towards your pathways when you become a member of a club after completing the program. That's pretty amazing. I've never heard or seen anything like this in Toastmasters before. I think it's pretty incredible, and it's certainly very compelling. I want to walk through a series of slides about the actual digital experience. There are quite a few slides, so take screenshots if you like, but there are other options, including the videos that go into further details. And of course, once you sign up for the program, you'll get those details as well. So let's have a look. Number 1, you need to order the actual bundle, and you will get the quick start guide as part of it. And I'm just showing you a couple of screenshots to make you comfortable with this. And the quick start guide tells you to go to the toastmasters.org/speechcraft. And this is the screen that you'll actually see. I'd like to point out for coordinators and participants, there's an overview. If you are thinking of coordinating, then there's further information there. Or if you wish to attend, there's additional information. As part of the overview for the coordinators, there's actually a video in there. So you can have a look at that. And then you log on. Once you go to the Speechcraft gateway, you log on. What are you logging on to? There's the log on panel. Probably looks pretty familiar to you. You're logging on through the gateway to Basecamp. This is the screen that you'll see, and you'll see if you're a coordinator, there's a facts, FAQs, there's create a new event. So you've ordered your bundle, you would start to input information such as the location and date and registrants for your program. There is the coordinator's guide, and when you have actually put in your event, this is the event page that you would go back to, and you would be able to see this information. Now I want to show you what the quick start guide shows you. It's actually a schedule. So here you are, brand new, you've got your bundles all set up, but this quick start guide will give you information about what to do before the event is created, what happens before you hold it, during the event, and after. And it's so detailed. Let me show you the after event. Look at this. It tells you how to share your experience, how to close it off, how to invite Speechcrafters to a meeting, and to encourage Speechcrafters to actually join. It's very helpful, step by step, and it shows you what is needed to be done. When you've set up your program, you will go to this page. It will list out the dates and times and location, but it will also include a list of all the registrants. If someone drops off, you can easily replace them by adding in a new registrant. The Speechcrafters get an email inviting them to actually register. They'll get their login. The current and future events is up here. And then this is the button that you would press to go to the actual learning to set up your sessions. And this is the next page. When you press that button, you go here. And I want to familiarize it with you. First of all, there's the learning. What is that? That's your transcript. That's a list of the courses. This section here is quick links, and it tells you how to get started and how to get to your session guides. There's more. Over this side of the page, there is an introduction. That's where you want to start. When you get to this page, go to the introduction section. It tells you how to do everything. The planning section is the lesson plans. The session resources includes the agendas that you will create for each of your sessions. The tutorials and resources are there. You will see what the Speechcrafters actually view, so you get their lessons to look at. And then there's the status and tracking through the dashboards. There's some more things on this page I want to point out. And this is really a very important part. It's called Express Class. It is a new Basecamp manager function, and it's used to track and validate people who have completed their speeches. It's so important to mark after every participant, every speech crafter who completes a speech needs to be marked off. This is their way of getting credit. When they become members, that credit is transferred into their transcript as a full member of a club. Very important. And then you might already be familiar with the chat and feedback on Pathways. It's also available to speech crafters. That's a lot going on this page, I must admit. There's more. Yeah, badges, of course. You want badges, don't you? Yeah, there's a completion badge for each speech. And that, of course, only comes if the coordinator has registered that speech through the Access Express. And there are feedback badges, including 2 that are exclusive to the Speechcraft experience. I'd like to see that. Now, you are familiar with the tutorials and resources in Pathways. Same thing for Speechcraft. And it looks familiar, doesn't it? This is where you will find plan overviews, the evaluation resources, and other help. The agendas are automatically generated, and they're generated in a Word document, so you can actually go back in and change them. And the evaluation forms also look familiar. There's the icebreaker one, it's 3 pages, and the other 2 pages are the rating system. So doesn't this all look pretty familiar? I think so. The dashboards, this is something that a Basecamp manager would see. They're all different types, of course, but this will show you each speech crafter's progress. And the speech crafters also get a dashboard as well. Now you may be interested to see, what does the speech crafter see? Let's have a look. After the coordinator has put in the registrant's information, an email is sent for the speech crafter to actually register. And they're invited to create a profile, and that profile will give them a logon. And that logon gives them access to Basecamp. And this is the screen that they'll see. It says, welcome to Speechcraft. The event is listed here with the time and location. And then you will press go, and you're going to Basecamp. And what do you see in Basecamp? You see a screen. And you'll be asked some questions to open up a self-assessment, but there are other things on here. And just as a reminder, your pop-up blocker must be turned off, just like in Pathways. And this allows for all of those functions within Speechcraft to occur. I want to point out here is the access to the learning page. That's where the lessons are. There is the chat and the feedback. This is a section where there are surveys to complete. The first one is a self-assessment. Sound familiar? When you started off with level 1 and your icebreaker, you were asked to do a self-assessment. So you'll see that. Interesting, the coordinators can also see the results of the assessment. And there's actually 3 of them: before, during, and after. And the 4th survey, which is the feedback, meaning the final one. There are badges that a speech crafter can see what has been awarded, tutorials and resources, and we know those are the additional speech outlines and other documents like evaluation forms. And the Speechcraft dashboards, as I had mentioned before, that they can see to track their own process. They press the go to my learning experience. This is the page that they will see, and you'll see down here that they will begin their journey. Begin your journey. This is really great. So this is the first one screen that a speech crafter will see to access the main menu. The main menu gives you access to each of the learning programs. And if you're only giving a 4-week program and you're only giving 4 or 5 of these modules, all of these modules are available, but you would specifically access the one for that particular section and prepare for it. Are you getting familiar with this screen? You're going to see a lot of it. I'm moving now into the marketing materials. The marketing materials are really important because they advertise Speechcraft. And I will talk about the fee. As I mentioned before, I would talk about this sponsorship, fundraising, and some public relation resources. And then we'll move into our breakout rooms. There is an overview of the program at toastmasters.org/speechcraft. That is a main entry point for getting information. There is a 1-minute video that you can send to people who are interested. And I also want to point out in the March issue of the Toastmasters magazine, there is an article about Speechcraft. And I'd like to mention that not only is Thelma mentioned in there, but myself. And I'm really pleased that they were able to include us to get the word out about the Speechcraft experience. So these things can also be sent to people who are interested. To help support that, there are marketing materials that come with the digital bundle. You can see from the flyer on the left, this is a promotional flyer that you can send out before even setting up a program. It's to elicit some interest and to create some buzz, basically. And the flyer on the right is what you would send out with all of the program details from setting up the program. So you have 2 flyers, and they can be sent out as a digital attachment. They can be added into your websites and other ways of communicating with guests and members and the public. I want to spend a little time, maybe some questions about how to run the program, the fees, and so on. If you are running the program, you can transfer the cost of the program back to the participants. You know, the bundle costs $50 US. You would add in the exchange rate. There are no shipping costs, which is pretty cool. That's a good thing because it's digital. It's just all downloaded or accessed through the portals. Then the money that's achieved goes back into the club to cover the costs. That's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is to have a sponsor. You can actually go and ask for somebody to pay for the program. That's what we did with the youth leadership program, and I've had individuals actually support the whole program. You can get a sponsoring organization such as the Rotary Club or an individual to pay and cover the entire costs. It's a win-win situation. An option is to have the club pay. The objective here is to get new members come back in. You can actually offer incentives, and many clubs do this. They offer a 6-month free membership upon completion of the program. That's one way to bring in new members directly from the program, and the club picks up the cost. But think about it. You know, this is a time when we have Zoom. We've already paid essentially for our club members to access it. You could potentially run this cost-free or even offer the incentive of funding, sponsoring those club members directly with almost no cost further to the club. This is a great place. It's affordable, make it affordable, but also you could make it free. But the most important part is to always ask a participant to sign up as a member. I've heard a few clubs where membership just falls through because no one followed up. And I've attended a number of PR sessions, webinars that were given by District 60, and they all say the same thing. If no one asks, they will do nothing. Why didn't you join? No one asked. Ask people to join and make this a message occasionally in your sessions that you do give, that you will be asking people to join and to enjoy the actual club experience. In terms of fundraising, you can cover your costs to run the program and add a premium. So just as an example, add another $10 or $15, or whatever your club wants to do, and have a fundraising objective. If you want to run the program to 15 or 20 members, let's say it's a corporate club, mind you, the corporation will pick it up, but maybe you will say, we want to add some additional costs into the program in order to raise some money for gifts or to thank yous to invited speakers. Find some way to help support the program. Fundraising is really important. if you want to offer Speechcraft experience. Now, I'd like to ask at this point if there are any questions about the fundraising and the fees. I'll give you a moment just to digest that. So just to cover it off again, individual can pay, and you can add a premium on in order to get funds back into your club. A sponsor can pay for the entire amount, or you can offer incentives in order to have the members come back, the speech crafters come back as members into your club. Okay. There'll be an occasion in a few minutes after the breakout rooms if you want to ask additional questions at that time. Oh, Danny, do we have one more question coming through at this time, or shall I move on?
Yes, we do. From Michael. Sydney, does TI have guidelines about the added premium?
I haven't seen any. It's up to the club to decide. And remember, the objective here is not to profit, but you can do fundraising. There should be some objective. Your club executives will probably monitor that pretty well.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move on. If you have any more questions, you can call me. I'll give you the contact details at the end. What's most important, though, is the why. Why would a speech crafter come to your Speechcraft experience program? They come because they're preparing for job interviews or presentations, or they're involved in some social media of some kind, preparing weddings or whatever. And I'm saying, if you were making an effort to bring Speechcraft into your community, I'm just saying this as something outside the box, you could actually contact wedding planners and say, listen, all you wedding planners, we're doing a Speechcraft program out of my club. Anybody who is at the head table is invited to come and take the 4, 6, or 8 week program and learn how to put a speech together. You could do something like that. So what's really important, and in the chat, if you want to think about this, what else do people need speaking skills for? These are just the tip of it. But if you think about it, those are your target market. They could be your target market for Speechcraft. So if you have some further ideas about what people need speaking skills for, that would be a good opportunity to put that in the chat. Or when we go to the breakout rooms, you can also talk about that.
And Karen, Lynn also has a question about, would Ontario Works sponsor worthy students?
Ontario Works. I'm not totally familiar with that program. But wherever you have, I guess, a nonprofit, you can also do a partnership with them. I was thinking of different centers for job placement. You could do something with them. So if Canada Works is something similar to that, I don't see why not. That'd be perfect. Remember, public relations is very important. Talk to your club members, guests, always approach new members, update your website, contact your area director. If you have a sponsor, remember you can piggyback on their public relations and advertisements. Social media, of course, all of the Facebooks and other Twitters and so on, get that word out. Eventbrite, sign it up as a whole event. If you're trying to get 20 or 30 people, you would reach out that far. Meetup, your area director may already have an account that you can be back on too. And remember, the District 60 website has a calendar listing, so you can put that in. And the public relations manager, Andrew Horbury, will have some suggestions as well. So do reach out to Andrew. There are some really good marketing materials on the Toastmaster website. There's a brand portal, and I like this particular one, and it relates really well to Speechcraft. Relax, present confidently. You could use that tagline also for Speechcraft and use this image about my why. So we're going to go into some breakout rooms in a moment. Danny, I'm going to ask you to get that set up.
I'm ready to go.
And then this is, what is your why? So take a break, go to the breakout room, take a break in the breakout room and ask, what is your why? What is your motivation? And what is it that you want to achieve? If it's your DTM, talk about that and how Speechcraft is going to support you in that and how the club will support you in that. If you are trying to reach out into community, How would you use your public relations and who supports you in all of that? And if you're trying to increase the membership, what is your achievement goal? And I've written one here. For instance, you increase your membership by 9 people. Well, you would give the program to 10 or 15 people, hoping that 9 people would sign up. So this is really important, is to target. What is your target and what is their why and what is your why? So Danny, could you go ahead? I know we have a number of participants. If they could just go into a breakout room for
Okay. I'm going to
about
sign
10 minutes.
automatically right now.
Thanks very much. We'll see you in a bit. Now I'm going into room 4 here to join Bill and Pushpa.
Okay.
And I think about 10 minutes would be fine.
Okay, I'm setting a timer right now.
Thank you.
We'll give people a moment to come back from the breakout rooms. I think everyone's back. You can unmute yourself now, Karen.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed talking with Bill and Pushpa, and I hope the others have enjoyed the breakout rooms as well. Is there anything that somebody might want to share? You can unmute yourself and maybe just share your experience in the breakout room. Okay, Danny, I see Lynn's hand is up there. Is there any? Would you? Could
Let's
we
unmute Lynn?
I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Hi. Yeah. What Bruce and I talked about was, well, many things, but one of the things was a target audience. I live in a small town, but we're getting an influx of people moving. I'm in the Ottawa Valley, by the way. We're getting an influx of people from the city moving up the valley. And so it would be a new kind of a target audience because you have city folks with city experience and city values moving into a smaller town. Our population right now is about 10,000, and we're going to be going up probably another 2,000 in the next little bit. So that target audience would be totally different from who are the people who are already members of our clubs, who for the most part are very small town, and they join for different reasons. And so I was wondering with the Speechcraft, if you target it to everybody or if you pick a specific audience.
Well, Lynn, that's a very good question. I live in Lindsay, and they're expecting a huge 5,000 people over the next few years. And there are starting to come in new housing developments.
Mhm.
This is the perfect time to work with two people. I would suggest offering a newcomer's guide that maybe the city hall has some idea
Okay.
going through. You can make a pitch to them. And also, I want to be working with the business and economic development people. That's perfect to give people that opportunity. So there's two suggestions for you. Now, I know that we don't have much time left, and
We
I
have one
invite,
more question though
oh, okay, just a
from
quick one.
Adriana.
Yes, thank you, Danny.
Oh, there, am I there? I was just wondering, because we have a lot of new members, and I was thinking of including them in the Speechcraft, but everything you're going through with the path or with the base camp seems geared towards non-members. So can you incorporate already members to be included?
Yes, both. It's perfect. New members should be included. This is where they're going to get their basic public speaking skills. And for existing members, it offers a refresher. And don't forget that people who are members who are participating, giving education sessions and being members are exercising their leadership abilities as well as their speaking skills. So yes, absolutely you can mix. There are many hybrids, even two clubs collaborating and offering a joint program. So there's all kinds of things. Think outside the box. Okay, now
Thank you.
I'm just going to move on. I want to make sure that I've got my screen share back again. Can I get my screen back again? I hope so.
I think we're out of time, actually.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the last part here. And that's essentially to thank everybody. And there is a takeaway in the chat. And I would ask you to consider taking Speechcraft. I want to thank Carrie Webster and Linda Todd for including me in their Speechcraft program, and Thelma Todd, who is my inspiration. And finally, there is the contact information in the takeaway in the chat, and you can contact Danny or myself. Danny is also co-chair with me on the Speechcraft program, and I want to say thank you for attending today. It's really great that you have this interest in the Speechcraft experience. Back to you, Danny.
Thank you. And can we go back to unshare that screen?
Yep.
There you go. So now we come to the conclusion. I'd like to thank our presenter, Karen Ryan, for giving us a wonderful workshop today. I'd also like to thank Bruce Richardson for donating his Zoom account to make this workshop even possible. And I've sent a SurveyMonkey link in the chat for everyone to fill out our survey form. And I think I'm going to stop the recording right now.